Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster, as I look forward to Saturday, the 3rd of May. We're really getting to the meat of the season, as it's going to be 2,000 guineas day at Newmarket on Saturday, and then, of course, the 1,000 guineas on Sunday. If you happen to be joining me for the very first time, then please press the subscribe button to follow my tips free here at Sportsbet. And if you're interested for a lot more selections at really good prices, then consider clicking on the link in the description box below this screen where you can go to Out in Front, my subscription service, and I already offered 4 selections for Saturday on Guineas Day across 3 different meetings, but including the 2,000 guineas, and there'll be plenty of selections there for the 1,000 guineas day on Sunday, and also the following week going into the Chester main meeting, and then we've got the York Dante fixture, we've got the Lockinge fixture, and Irish Guineas coming up. So much terrific racing, and there's going to be a lot of action covered in depth and Out in Front. Now, I've got the one selection for you for Saturday, but of course, last week I also gave just the one selection, and happy to say that we turned a corner with that one selection coming up trumps, recommended at 8-1. Resplendent Grey, powered up the Sandown Hill under a fabulous ride from Sean Bowen to win the Bet365 Gold Cup. I hope you were on at a decent price each way. That Sean Bowen is an absolute knockout, isn't he? People are beginning to compare him now to Tony McCoy, and I think well, you wouldn't say he's as good as McCoy, but he's getting there. And he could be the one that over the next few years to come dominates the national hunt jockeys scene. He's been mustered all year. It was a brilliant ride on Ollie Murphy's Resplendent Grey, and he also produced another wonderful ride at the Punchestown Festival as well earlier this week. Anyway, to my selection for you, free selection here at Sportsbet Saturday. It's at Newmarket in the 220. And this is the 9 furlong Betfred Suffolk Stakes. It's a heritage handicap over the 9 furlongs. The going is good, but it could be good to firm in places despite a bit of watering because it's fairly dry and sunny and the breeze is probably drying out the Rowley Mile. 13 runners, and 12 months ago, a horse called Liberty Lane won this race before going on to land the Cambridgeshire over the course and distance in the autumn. And there will probably be a number among this field whose connections will have that very same race in mind for 5 months' time. Now, in a race where it really is hard to rule anything out, one of the most unexposed runners and the early 7-2 favourite is the Royal Ascot winner, Hand of God, for Harry Charlton. Not seen since completing a hat-trick with a comfortable success in the Golden Gates handicap over 1.25 miles at the Royal meeting last June. Now, he obviously met with some kind of a setback, not having been seen since then, but the 4-year-old really does remain an exciting handicap prospect, although he begins this term now £11 higher than his Royal Ascot win last summer. He's an interesting runner, Hand of God. Hand of God's main market rival overnight is Godolphin's Arabian Light for Charlie Appleby. A winner of 2 from 3 novice stakes last season, prior to 2 good runs in handicap company at Meydan this winter, the latest of which was when beating Sean, trained by Jamie Osborne, by half a length off a £6 lower mark almost 3 months ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how he fares back on these shores. It's not always the case that Meydan form translates well to the turf and the completely different type of racetracks and style of racing in Britain. Sean, for his part, was a mid-division finisher in the Lincoln Handicap at Doncaster 5 weeks ago. More, I think, is needed from him if he's going to return to winning ways here. Now, another 4-year-old with prospects is Approval, trained by William Haggis. 7th behind Hand of God at Royal Ascot, and now £9 better off. On his only subsequent start, he overcame trouble in running to lead close home and win the valuable Coral Kingsome handicap over 1.25 miles at Glorious Goodwood last summer. He's £4 higher now off his absence, but if he's fit enough to do himself justice, he will come very much into the reckoning. And of course, we all know William Haggis is a great trainer at getting them ready. Most of the other runners are very familiar, useful older handicappers, including Charlie Johnston's Dutch Decoy, who was a fine second in this very race 12 months ago, behind the subsequent Cambridgeshire winner. He shaped with promise, I thought, when he kept on steadily into 5th on his seasonal return at Ripon last month, but he doesn't find winning particularly easy. His stable companion, Urban Sprawl, I think looks to face a tough task on recent evidence. Silver Sword for Dylan Cooner hails from an upwardly mobile yard and won a decent handicap at Meydan during the winter. He also wasn't disgraced when sixth in the Newbury Spring Cup on his first start back in Britain, but I just have a feeling he might be handicapped up to the hilt now. It wouldn't surprise to see Sir Mark Prescott's Born Ruler have a good season. He progressed nicely in 2024 and up to 1.5 miles, so he stays well. But I think he might find this shorter test a little sharp for him on the back of nearly 10 months off. While Fox Legacy, having his first start for Andrew Balding, takes a step back in trip for his seasonal return, and is worth noting, I'd say, for any market support for a yard that's been going really well this campaign. And so to my selection here at Newmarket in the 220, and it is a horse called Galaron. He's trained by Charles Hills and is the mount of Jason Watson. And he's back on these shores and back, notably, with his original handler, following what turned out to be a fruitless 18 months in Australia. He was the winner of the Goffs Million at the Curragh as a juvenile, and then he ran a Stormer to be fourth at this track in the 2023 2,000 guineas, very nearly, 2 years ago to the day, as it will be for Guineas Day tomorrow. And that was behind Colden. Remember when Colden won the 2,000 guineas 2 years ago? Well, Galaron was fourth that day and went on to be fifth behind Paddington in the Irish equivalent just 3 weeks later. His better effort towards the end of that campaign was his third in the Group 3 Bonham Stakes at Goodwood that August, after which he was eventually transferred to Australia. As I say, that didn't really work out, as I'm sure connections had planned, and he was returned to Britain last autumn, but didn't race again. They gave him plenty of time to reacclimatise until he ran in the Lincoln Handicap at Doncaster at the end of March. I thought he ran a really smashing first race back, finishing a 2-length fifth of the 22 runners behind Godwinson, and he stayed on well inside the final furlong over the mile. Now, that run suggested to me there could be races to be run still with this now gelded son of Camacho, and the extra furlong here might just prove to be his optimum trip. Looking further ahead, he could potentially be a serious contender for the Cambridgeshire. But on Saturday, Galaron, at the time of this recording, is 11-1 each way for 4 places, with the likes of Bet Victor, Coral and Ladbrokes. And I'm expecting Galaron to go well in that very competitive and probably very informative 220 race at Newmarket. So that's my selection here at Sportsbet. As I mentioned earlier, you have the option to sign up and join me at Out in Front via the link in the description box. But whatever happens, I'll be back this time next week with my selection for next Saturday. Enjoy Kiddies Weekend at Newmarket. Bye-bye for now.